Hi Sagittarius, and welcome to your January 2024 horoscope. I hope you enjoyed December, I hope you had a good New Year's, and I hope you're excited for January, because January is going to be a powerful month. This is because we have Pluto entering Aquarius, and it's probably the biggest event of the whole year. We're going to chat a little bit later in the horoscope about what this will mean for you. Another aspect that will be quite prevalent for actually the whole month will be a sextile between Saturn and Jupiter. Saturn is in a water sign and Jupiter is in an earth sign. And because of this, I believe that the month will be quite practical. You'll be concerned with a lot of practical things such as taking care of your body, your sleep, making sure you have a roof over your head, what you're eating, but also as well your emotional needs. But let's get a little bit more into day by day and what you can expect for January. On January 1st, Venus in your first house squares Saturn in your fourth. You are not starting off the month in an easy way, Sagittarius. You might really feel this square. And specifically, you might feel like your family is not accepting you for who you are. You are being your own unique self. And there are some more traditional views that your family has that is making it difficult for you to be in your full expression. Just want to let you know that this will ease up in a couple of days into the month. And in fact, probably as soon as January 4th, it will start to feel a bit easier because Mars will also leave your first house. It should help make things feel a bit easier. On the 4th, Mars enters Capricorn. It enters your second house. And I really see this period for you as you asserting your boundaries. You don't want to rely on others. You want to be your own unique individual, whether that means that you provide for yourself financially, you take care of yourself emotionally, you get up at 6 a.m. and do that workout like you've been promising yourself to do for the last 5 years. And I do think that this will be quite a good aspect for those Sagittarians that actually have New Year's resolutions. The second house will continue to get activated for you. And it will be quite activated on January 11th during the new moon in Capricorn. So we have Mars, the Sun, the Moon, and as well Pluto in your second house. Even though Pluto is a fair bit away from the Sun and the Moon, I would still consider this quite a Plutonian new moon, especially because the Sun is making its way towards Pluto and it's just going to keep getting stronger and stronger. During this new moon, there's also an aspect between Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. So Mars is sextiling Saturn, Saturn is sextiling Jupiter, and Jupiter is trining Mars. And these three are bringing into the conversation your second, fourth, and sixth house. This leads me to believe that you are, again, quite practically focused during this new moon. You're really stepping your boundaries, you're proving yourself to yourself, holding your word and your promises to yourself to the highest regard possible. And the fact that things are going really amazing with your work, all of the opportunities coming from there are making it easier for you to continue expanding your self-confidence. It's sort of like an endless loop where the more self-confidence you have, the better you get with your work. The better you get with your work, the more self-confidence you get. Because Pluto is part of this conversation, you are learning how to step into your power. We're going to get a little bit more into Pluto and the fact that it's moving into your third house. But I really do see this new moon as a wonderful closing of the past 20 years because Pluto was in your second house for the last 20 years. It's a beautiful closing of a chapter of how powerful we become when we stay true to our own word and we take care of ourselves like nobody else can. On January 14th, Venus sextiles the South Node in your 11th house. With the South Node in your 11th house since November 2023, you might be coming up into all of your colleagues, your network, your friends, the communities that you belong to, that are really asking you to be a certain way or to show up in a certain way, and you're maybe struggling to set your boundaries there. You're perhaps really learning how to express yourself uniquely without caring what they think of you. But because Venus is in a nice aspect with the South Node, on this day you might find it a little bit easier than before to express yourself and be your unique self. You could take notes and just notice what approach you tried on this day that made it easier, and that could be an approach that you continue to apply whenever you're faced with this in the future. Venus continues to travel through your first house, and on the 19th of January, it squares Neptune in your fourth house. Because this is a square, there might be some tension coming from your home. And specifically, you might be getting a little bit disillusioned with things happening at your home. Perhaps things seem to be going really well there for now, and you get your hopes high, things look amazing. But I would advise you to take everything on this day with a grain of salt. It might seem like it's an amazing thing that a couple of days later you actually think, that's not actually as good of a situation that I thought it was. So don't make any big decisions on this day. And now we're on January 20th, the big event. The big event of this month is Pluto conjunct the Sun. Pluto is conjunct the Sun on the 20th in the final degree of Capricorn. Just a couple of hours later, the Sun enters Aquarius. A day later, on the 21st, Pluto also enters Aquarius. They're both entering your third house. Let's start with the Sun, and then we'll jump to Pluto. So the Sun entering your third house means that you are ready to talk for the next month. So from about January 20th until February 20th, you're going to be talking, you're going to be teaching, you're going to be sharing, you're going to be helping out with your local community, maybe spending more time with your siblings, volunteering at a local community. But because this start of Aquarius season is actually together with Pluto, you're also kicking off a 20-year cycle focused on communication. For the next 20 years, you are finding your power in your words. And this can manifest in multiple ways. It could mean that you come across people that communicate in a really powerful way, and you get into sort of debates with them or power struggles over who said what. Or it could also mean that you come into a really influential position where you can exert power over others just through the words you speak. It's almost like, you're starting a podcast and it becomes super popular, and you can really influence people to do things just with your words. Pluto was in Aquarius in 2023. Between March and June of 2023, to be exact. Take a look at what happened during those months, because those could be a foreshadowing of what this could mean for you for the next 20 years. On January 23rd, Venus enters Capricorn and your second house. We already chatted earlier in the month about what Mars in your second house might be doing with you this January. But now that Venus is also entering the second house, it might help mellow that energy out. So while you are still asserting yourself and really actively working on being self-confident and showing up for yourself, you are also, from the 23rd, trying to enjoy it. You're trying to make it fun. You're trying to make it pleasant because you know that it's important that this also feels fun and feels nice for you. On January 25th, we have a full moon in Aquarius in your third house. The Sun and Pluto are still quite close with each other, about 4 degrees. So I do think that this full moon has still some of that Plutonian influence. During this full moon, the sextile between Saturn and Jupiter is still happening. So it's still bringing into the conversation of this full moon your 4th and 6th house. So I can imagine that during this full moon, perhaps you are saying something around your family, or you are saying something or communicating in a way at your work that is gently pushing you in this direction of exerting your power. You know, you're getting a wonderful opportunity at work, but it requires that you do the uncomfortable thing and be a bit more assertive. Or you are meeting with some resistance from your family, and it gives you a little gentle push towards claiming that power and standing your ground. January 28th is also quite an interesting day because we have a couple of things happening. First of all, Uranus goes direct. Secondly, we have Mars squaring the nodes. And finally, we have the same aspect that happened earlier in the month between Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter happening again, but this time with Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. With Mars squaring the nodes, you are being asked to be courageous and speak your mind with your community. We are seeing actually this theme coming up for you pretty much the whole month. Sometimes it's a little bit more about your home, and towards the end of the month, it's a little bit more about your community, your friends, perhaps even your colleagues. Take a look at what happened on January 11th because of that repetitive aspect with Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter. It could be a similar thing happening on this day, but this time a little bit less intense because it's an aspect with Venus. We close off the month on the 30th with Mars in your 2nd house, trining Uranus in your 6th house. People are noticing that you're being unique self in your workspace and in your daily routine, the way you show up day to day. And they're honoring that, and they're giving it space and time to express itself. So you might close off the month finding it easier to really speak your mind and be your own unique individual. Overall, Sagittarius, I think this month is a really powerful month to show up for yourself. If you have a goal that you want to accomplish in January, it's really important that you follow up with your own promises and you keep true to your own word, not for the benefit of others, but for your own benefit, for the fact that when we accomplish our goals, we feel powerful, we feel confident, and we feel unstoppable. I hope you enjoyed this forecast. I hope you enjoy the month as well. Enjoy Pluto entering Aquarius. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to catch the February forecast as well. I hope to see you again soon.